Brethren, lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. We're going to be diving into the latest around Arsenal. There is a double deal happening at Arsenal. Groundwork has been done, according to James Ollie at the ESPN, and Arsenal could be doing a Rice Caicedo midfield next season, but it's gonna take some time and there is a lot of work to do. But of course, we're going to be discussing the possibility of Arsenal signing in two midfielders after Xhaka leaving. El Neni could potentially leave at the end of next season. And my big question for you in the comment box below is, if we are doing a midfield rebuild, how many midfielders should Arsenal sign? We've not signed so many midfielders over the last few years, but I think in the last two years, Odegaard, Vieira and Thomas Partey have actually come in. Odegaard has done very well. Partey has done very well, but Vieira and Albert Sambilakonga have actually not done very, very well. So the big question I want you to get to me in the comment box below: how many midfielders do you think we need next this summer, right? How many midfielders should we sign for us to be able to compete next season? And just to be clear, what are your thoughts on Fabio Vieira? Because he's one of my really, really beloved players, and I'm not giving up on him. I really love him. I really believe in him, and I still see him as that little magician that will become a success in the Premier League and at Arsenal as well. But do you think Arsenal should loan him, sell him, keep him? What are your thoughts on Fabio Vieira? Let me know. And of course, that means that if you say Vieira goes, it means Arsenal need more than two midfielders, right? If you think Vieira stays, then two could be just enough. Hit the like button. Let's get this video to 500 likes and let's get the party started. Now, James Ollie from the ESPN today has been giving us a couple of updates around Arsenal, including the few targets that we'll be looking at, especially those that are really concrete. And today, he's actually said that Arsenal are looking to do a double midfield deal. So it's going to be two signings in midfield. Mikel Arteta has just made that very, very clear that among the signings that should be coming in this summer, a right back, a centre back should be on the list, but two midfielders are a priority. Yesterday as well, Damasheth was speaking to Sky Sports and giving us an update around Arsenal and say, look, they like Declan Rice, but the information I have is that they will sign someone else in midfield, a priority area for them this summer. Look, I think this is quite spot on, first and foremost, for us to go for midfielders, but also it's the right time. I think last season, our midfield did very well. Odegaard really did very well. 15 goals, 8 assists. That is 23 goal contributions in the Premier League. But I kind of feel like we were let down by the other parts of the midfield. Odegaard wasn't that very, very bad in terms of maintaining levels and consistency. I'll give him that. I think for the bigger part of the season, he was the kind of player you wanted him to be. Xhaka, in my opinion, I think he was very good throughout the season. But if we had a better player towards the end of the season, maybe it would have been, much better. And Thomas Partey, of course, absolutely fell away, absolutely capitulated during the end of the season. So it only makes sense for us to see our midfield die like that towards the end of the season, and eventually Arsenal go, okay, we are going to sign two midfielders and we're going to have a midfield rebuild. It's the right time, and I absolutely agree. Now, James Ollie says that Arteta will want two midfielders, and those two midfielders are not a guess. That is Declan Rice and Moises Caicedo. At the moment, they are the priority, with Arsenal, of course, ready to spend over 150 million in terms of cash on the midfield. That's quite very interesting. And that's where the point is. 150 million on the midfield this summer. Of course, we are hearing rumors that Arsenal will spend, north of 250 million. Maybe true, maybe not true. Like I said, I will do a video about that. But north of 150 million on midfield. That is crazy. That is statement, right? I'm one of the people who agree with Simon Jordan on TalkSport when he said that Arsenal need to spend over 200 million just to maintain their status quo in the top four. And I totally agree. Manchester United, you look at what they're trying to do right now. they're not going to spend anything less than 200 million. Last summer they spent 200. This summer, I can guarantee you they'll spend 250 plus. Okay, Chelsea, of course, we know the kind of spenders they are. The scattergun policy, the scattergun strategy they always employ. Whatever gets in their way, they will shoot it down. Liverpool are trying to do a rebuild. I think they will try to go with the economic, discipline, but they will sign quality. We are hearing Viega, we are hearing McAllister, we are hearing players like Kone at Borussia Mönchengladbach. Those are quality signings, although they might not actually cost a lot of money, from Liverpool. So Arsenal's 150 million for Declan Rice and Moises Caicedo, that is a nice strategy. But why am I not convinced? Why do I feel Arsenal could do better? Why do I feel that 150 million, one, could get us more players than two, but it could also, such an amount of money could just give us more than two players with more absolute quality. Now, this is my debate. If Arsenal are willing to spend like maybe 80 million on Declan Rice or 90 million on Declan Rice, that would leave us with around 60 million, right? Now, it makes a lot of sense for us to go 60 million or 70 million on Moises Caicedo, and the 160 million is done. But how about if we signed Ike Gundogan on a free, give him a 3-year deal, and then we signed in Martin Zubamendi as well from Real Sociedad. That means we don't sign Moises Caicedo, and I know what that means for people on this channel. And then maybe sign Declan Rice, or maybe sign a James Maddison, a Moises Caicedo, and an Ike Gundogan. I kind of feel like we will need that depth. At the moment, Odegaard needs cover. I think whoever will sign instead of Xhaka to replace Xhaka will need cover as well. And if Partey leaves, then Caicedo will need cover. But of course, if Partey stays, then Caicedo will be the cover. But the good thing is that we are willing to invest heavily in that midfield. So let's look at these two options. Rice, Caicedo. If Arsenal are going to line up with Rice, Caicedo, and Odegaard, I'm worried. I'm a little bit worried. I'm not the biggest fan of Caicedo, Rice in the same team. I'll give you an example. You look at West Ham this season, and maybe a couple of other seasons, they played with Thomas Susek in that midfield alongside with Declan Rice, okay? And then they've had Lucas Paqueta somewhere, they've had Pablo Farnos somewhere, just for creativity, right? Maybe Emmanuel Lanzini as well, for creativity. Why I would like Declan Rice, in my opinion, is he would become a formidable holding midfielder. He would become a strong pivot for Arsenal. And I think that is where I want him to play. I don't want him as a central midfielder. I don't want him as a box-to-box. I don't want him as a midfield mastermind. I want him as a midfield dynamite. I hope I really make a lot of sense, right? For midfield masterminds, I would be okay if we signed a player like Gabriel Viega. I would be okay if we signed James Maddison. I would be okay if we signed Ike Gundogan. Those players that have the brain, the liberty, the fluidity, the ability on the ball. I don't think Rice is that. And you look at his most important metrics in his game, Declan Rice's most important metrics, the areas where he's achieving a lot of success is interceptions, tackles, ball recoveries, passing accuracy, which is a typical holding midfielder role. So for me, Moises Caicedo and Declan Rice, it's a very good signing, right? It would be a very good summer. But it's one where I feel like something is lacking, okay? Something would be really, really lacking. Xhaka doesn't give you the goals. 7 goals and 7 assists this season, playing in a more advanced role. Rice doesn't give you the goals as well. Neither does Moises Caicedo. So what I think is what Arsenal need, we need to sign Declan Rice and then another player like maybe Xavi Simons. I've seen a few. I've seen a very, very in-depth piece from Football.London. Tom Canton has done a very good piece. that Xavi Simons is more like a Martin Odegaard, is more like a Gabriel Martinelli rather than a Xavi replacement. But I think that's what we need. I think we need a goal-scoring machine from midfield. We need a guy who can be in that midfield and is going to guarantee us goals. That's James Maddison, that's Xavi Simons, that's Gabriel Viega, and that's Ike Gundogan. Okay? But Rice has his advantages. Caicedo has his advantages as well. But playing them in the same team, it just doesn't sit well with me. I feel something is lacking, okay? I think Caicedo at the heart of midfield is a non-negotiable. There's no debate there. He's one of the best in the game. But Rice, just imagine playing Bayern Munich and Kimmich is battling Rice. That's what I want, okay? And I kind of feel like ahead of Rice, it would be better if you had better, ball playing players, okay? And that would massively make him better. That would massively, let him shine. He wins the ball back. He's got the ability to drive, ride with the ball, and then he's surrounded by all these beautiful players. Odegaard, who is going to use the ball when Rice brings it, and of course maybe Ike Gundogan, who is going to use the ball as well when Rice progresses it forward. It would just be very, very nice to see. It would be very, very good. And I'm telling you this: if Mikel Arteta plays Rice at the heart of midfield, Rice is going to become such a weapon. He's going to become such a deadly, deadly player. Okay. Now, I've been looking at some of the combinations that we could do with the 150 million, and these are my options: Rice and Maddison. I think that one would be a very, very good fit for us this summer. Declan Rice as the 6, Declan Rice as the DM, Declan Rice as the holding midfield. He's always played there. He's played at centre-back. It's no surprise that he's excelling very, very highly at tackles, interceptions, recoveries, blocks, and all that. And his pressing is absolutely late. But the thing I think that West Ham have been lacking is they have failed to use him in the right way, okay? I think he's one of those players that you can leave the whole midfield for, and it's going to be all right. So in front of him, I think they should have played Lucas Paqueta more in front of him. This season, I think Paqueta has been going back to the levels that we know him of. And then they should have played maybe a player like maybe Pablo Fornals or maybe Manuel Lanzini. Two players who are very good on the ball, two players that are happy to receive, two players that are happy to play with Rice, and two players that just elevate the significance of Declan Rice, okay? Him coming forward occasionally is no problem. Him coming, to have a goal, maybe occasionally, is not a problem. But we should reinforce his most important attributes, and Maddison and Odegaard would actually do that. I look at Odegaard as an Ike Gundogan player. He's very good at game controlling. He's so good. Just remember that Everton game that we won 4-0, that, the way he controlled the tempo of the game, right? The way he just managed to make sure that we are in control. That's Martin Odegaard. And if you have a player like Odegaard, you can play him in that role that you want Gundogan to play, and then you can bring in a special player to create chances and score goals. That is James Maddison. If he's been averaging around 15 goal contributions at Leicester City over the last 4 years, you bring him in at Arsenal, he doesn't have a lot of defensive work to do. Of course, he will have a lot of defensive work to do, because we press high up the pitch, but he's not looking over his shoulder all the time. He has much more work to do going up the pitch rather than defending. James Maddison could be a success, a massive, massive success at Arsenal. I don't think you're going to find your Kevin De Bruyne every time. I think Manchester City are very lucky that they have signed, Kevin De Bruyne like 6-7 years ago. Where do you get such a player right now? Where do you get a guy that can hit free kicks very well, hit penalties very well, counter-attack very well, pass very well, defend very well? The guy's all-round game is an absolute joke. He's the greatest midfielder to ever play in the Premier League. There's no doubt about that. Despite the fact that he's not English, I'll give him the benefit, the benefit of the doubt. Okay, so for me, James Maddison and Declan Rice makes a lot of sense. Or Rice, or Caicedo and James Maddison. That also makes a lot of sense. Really, really does. Because Caicedo is more of your Yavis Bissouma. Does nothing else apart from winning the ball back and goes, guys, you can have your ball, but make sure you do not lose it. Of course, he's going to be coming into those advanced areas just to provide support. He might hit one or two long-range strikes, but I don't see Caicedo as the guy who is going to hit those, long-range strikes for you. So it just feels like if you signed Caicedo, stiffen the midfield, strengthen the midfield, then definitely you need a player like James, Maddison. But it wouldn't really hurt if we got Rice and Caicedo. Eventually, it means that Fabio Vieira has a lot of work to do on himself, because if you sign Rice and Caicedo, it means at some point in time you will need that creativity. And I also understand that Mikel Arteta might be looking at Emile Smith Rowe's future. He's got the shirt number 10 2 seasons ago, and maybe doesn't want to just give up on him. And I wouldn't really give up on Emile Smith Rowe. We will be doing our keep or sell very, very soon, all right? And for me, keep or sell, Emile Smith Rowe is a keep. Keep or sell, Fabio Vieira is a keep. So if Arteta is looking at these two positions, Emile Smith Rowe to replace Xhaka directly, and Fabio Vieira to be the kind of backup for Emile Smith Rowe and Martin Odegaard, which he has actually not done this season, I would definitely agree that Rice and Caicedo should sign. But if we are going to go pouncing, marching on for the Premier League, how about signing a good replacement for Xhaka? That is not Declan Rice for me. It's definitely not Deckers. But those are the two priorities, Rice and Caicedo. Personal terms agreed with Caicedo in January. We expect improved terms to be agreed with the player as well. And of course, Declan Rice has no problem with joining Arsenal. None of the players has a problem with joining Arsenal. But we need to move quick because so many other clubs are interested in all our targets. Hit the like button, subscribe to the podcast as well. We'll be discussing the Arsenal budget at 7 p.m. Are we going to spend upwards of 200 million? The first time it will ever happen for Arsenal to spend upwards of 200 million. But if we can do it, it might just be the statement that we are going to try to win the title next year. Look, Mikel has already said his target was winning the top four positions. He's done that, so there is no anywhere else to go. It's for the title. And what a way it will be, what a season it will be when Arsenal have decided that now we want the title. Regardless of what happens, we want silverware. I'll see you right in the next one. Of course, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Make sure you're hitting the notification bell so that you don't miss any of these stories. See you soon.